and financial management run through the potentiality system. So if we just have a look here, we can see that on this landing page, which is the administrator summary panel, this is just to give the administrators a quick run through of exactly what's going on the site in one location. So first of all, we've got the monthly logins and the monthly new users, which you can go through and have a look at. Then further down we have the site analytics. So this is just a way of having a look at which pages on the site are popular and what users are doing when they come along to the site. So we can do a bar chart here, and we can go through and look at different months, or we can look at different pages for that month. But what I can also do is I can go through and have a look at an actual interactive chart. So if I say set this interactive chart to the last 6 months, and then we can have a look at the different sites that people are looking at. So we've got the mentoring, which was looked at quite a great deal here. We've got the photo board. Here's the AFL. And one thing you might notice here is that when you get significant peaks on the site like this, so you've had 500 people odd looking at the AFL during that week, you also tend to notice that you get a flurry of activity through the other facilities that are being offered on the system. And we like to call that cross-pollination. So, you know, if you have something on the site, for example, the mentoring, and the mentoring is the kind of thing that you want people to have a look at, but it's not really the type of thing that's going to draw people to come along and have a look at the site. So if you can draw people to the site for something like the AFL, then inherently they're going to start looking at, you know, the other facilities available within the site, and that in those facilities are going to be the things that you actually want them to look at. So that's really a good example of, you know, what we're trying to achieve here, which is getting the people to the site and getting them engaged in the site using the different modules that we have, but then getting them to do the other things that you want them to do. We can also just play with this a little bit, and I'll just change the order in which these display, and then I can just click play, and you can actually watch how these statistics change over time. So that was the photo board that just had that peak there. We've got the jobs board available here. That was the calendar. That was the mentoring. That was the business events. That's the AFL that just went through the roof. And so you can actually analyze what's happening here over time and seeing the impact that different things have on the site at what time. So if you sent an email out, for example, I'd suggest that they sent an email out about the business events maybe around about here, because you can see a peak in the business events. So it's really good statistics that lets you work out what you're doing and how the actions that you have impact upon the site. Across the top here we have the other facilities available. The support, potentiality support and videos are just different facilities we make available to, you know, you can look up how to do things, and there are videos to run you through how to do them. Then we have a communication log. So this is all the communication that has been run through the site, and you can see most of these are notifications, but we can just scroll through and see everything. For example, I can just go to page 9 there, so that's records 400 to 450, and that then just brings up all those records for me. So it's a complete log of all communications activity through the system. It's taking a little while to load for me there, so I might skip through. Then here we have the payments and donations. So this tracks basically everything that you have available on the system, all payments that have been made, not just online payments, but you can track all check payments, all EFTs, cash payments if you want. So it really is one location to be able to track everything through the system. And just to show you how that works, you can see we've got a list here of all the users who have made a payment, and I can actually just go through and have a look at one of these users. So I'll just click on Lee, and this will give me that person's profile. And in that profile you can see we've got all their personal information, we've got all their interests. So this person's interested in football, golf days. We've got their schooling information, family information, mailing information, general information, just further information, communications. So this is actually a filtered version of the communication log that actually shows me the specific emails that this person has received. So you can see the last email they received was the OHA footy tipping. They've got a mentoring submission, so this person actually volunteered to be a mentor. So that's a good example of someone, you know, contributing back to the community. You can see they received the newsletter, AFL competition. So it's a log of every email they've received. Then we've got a log of their payments. This person does seem to be a very active community member. You can see that they've paid for their class of 2001 10-year reunion, they've paid for the South Australian reunion, and they've also paid for the business networking cocktail party. So this is just a log of every payment that they've made within the site. And one of the new facilities that we've actually got available here is what we call an engagement timeline. And so what this does is actually show the administrators the communication of this particular user. I'm just going to reload that frame. So this is a new facility that we've got that actually shows the administrators all the interaction that this user has actually had for the within the community. So you can see back here on September 17 they made a payment for an event. On Friday the August 31st they received an email OHA update. On the Wednesday March 20th, they sent an email about an event update. They joined a competition. They registered for an event, payment for an event. So it really just gives a very detailed run through, and I can zoom in there on particular dates and have a look at those. So that's a facility that's actually just been launched that is going to effectively build a timeline of a user's interaction with the community over an extended period of time. So it kind of just builds up over time and then becomes a really useful tool. So that's just how we look at the users' profiles and keep track of everything that they're doing within the community. And as I mentioned, what we can do here is not only track the credit card payments, but actually all sorts of different types of payments. And just to show you how that works, what I might do is I'll just create a payment now. And I've just created a payment of $0, but it's just going to take you through to the inbuilt payment facility within the system. So I might have just registered for an event, or I might have bought a hat from the shop, or I might have made a donation of $50 or whatever it is. This is the page that it actually brings you through to when you make that payment. And you can see here that each of our clients has the ability to not only collect credit card payments, but you can also enable payments for bank transfers, payments by check. You can allow them to pay later, or you can request an invoice. You can allow them to request an invoice. And the way this works is that obviously the payment by credit card is the easiest way. It just means that everything's inbuilt into the system. They make their payment. We confirm it on the spot. We just tick off in our system that that payment was accepted. We send you a notification. We send them a notification, and everything's done completely automatically. But we've also tried to make it easier to accept different types of payments. So for example, we've got payment by bank transfer. And you can see here, it tells you the amount, and yeah, I created a zero amount here. It tells me my transaction ID. So 14732 is the name of my transaction ID, and it says here, please use this ID whenever referencing this transaction. Now the key to that is that by using this ID, it makes it easier for the administrators of this site to actually track this payment, because by coming to this page, it actually creates a transaction in the transaction database, and then all the administrator has to do is that when they receive that EFT, hopefully that number will be referenced, and then the administrator can just come back to the payments and donations page. They just come to the confirm existing transaction tab, and you can see under this particular tab it says enter details here if someone has sent through a payment for an item or event independently. So what I could do is say, yes, well, they paid $80 and it was for it was via bank transfer, and the transaction ID was 147 or whatever it was. One of the other things you can actually do here is that if they didn't send through the transaction ID, you can see there that I can switch this view to view unconfirmed transactions. So it means that if they didn't, you're not dead in the water if they don't send through the transaction ID. You can just view the unconfirmed transactions and then look for that particular transaction. So it's still quite simple to go through, but we're just trying to automate as much as we can behind the scenes. And if you make this confirmation, because we knew what they were doing when they were making the payment for the event, we can continue the process of confirming this particular payment. So if I was to confirm this payment, then the event system would be notified that that person has registered for that event, and a notification would go through to them saying that their payment has been received. So it's all really just about automating as much as we can to make the whole process of managing the funds within your community a whole lot simpler. So I might go through and have a look at the event management system now, unless you've got any other questions about what we just went through.
I've just got one. What payment gateway does that use? Can we use ours, or does it use yours?
Yeah, you can use ours. Well, we do have an inbuilt payment gateway, but we do use other gateways. What gateway do you currently use?
Yeah, so probably Payway.
Yeah, we do actually integrate with Payway. There are some advantages in using our gateway. It's just integrated a little better. But we do have clients, for example, if I just go through to the Bursars Association of New South Wales, they're one of our clients, and they're connected with Payway. And if we just have a look at how that integration is done, I'll just do that by going in and mocking up a payment. So you can see here we've got a link for renewing membership, and pay fees. I can just click here, and I'll just click on Pay Online Now. And what that does is actually take me through. We go through the same page, which chooses whether I pay via credit card or bank transfer or check or whatever it is. But when I go through to pay by credit card, you'll notice that it actually isn't inbuilt into the page. We need to then redirect through to the Payway facility. So it's not quite as seamless as integrating with our payment gateway, but it certainly can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool.
And I mean, what we'd suggest is have a look at our gateway and see what it, if there's anything, any reason why you don't want to use it, and then we can look at integrating with another gateway if you think it doesn't do what you want it to do. Are there any other questions about what we've gone through? Okay, great. What I'll do now